Hi everyone and welcome to Isamu Rat Care. So today's video is all about the essential items that it's well worthwhile to keep in your first aid box. I did actually have a go at filming this one yesterday, just looking at what I have in my first aid box. It lasted 40 minutes and I decided that nobody in their right mind would want to watch 40 minutes of my first aid box, so I decided to simplify it a lot and do just the kind of top items that I think are useful to have on hand, and I'll talk a little bit about the options but try and keep it brief. So okay, first thing that I would always recommend having in your first aid box. So my most used item is these. So these are urine dipsticks. I'll just show you a little bit here. They're an excellent diagnostic tool if you've got a rat but you're not sure what's going on. They're a bit out of condition, they're not quite right, they're showing signs of abdominal pain, various things, slowing down when you're not expecting them to, and so on. These are really good for getting to the bottom of, or if not getting to the bottom of, ruling out potential conditions such as diabetes, kidney problems, urinary tract infections, kidney infections, that kind of thing. They're by no means perfect, but they're a good way to very quickly get some information. These are just sold for humans. You can buy them online from Amazon, you can buy them from some kind of rat or pet shops as well, but to be honest, human ones are fine. You want to make sure that it covers leukocytes, protein, blood and glucose as minimum. Other things can come in useful as well, though they're not as reliable. So I would always recommend keeping some of those in. Next thing that I always make sure I have in, right, this is Harcomycin. Harcomycin is a form of ivermectin. It's a brand, it's for 0.35% ivermectin, which I find is a nice handy strength for treating rats. Use this to treat external parasites such as mites and lice, which do crop up in rats fairly regularly. It does cover some internal parasites as well. I always try and have some in. You can get other kind of brands as well. If you only have one or two rats, Beef Spot On's quite good. If you find that you run through this a little bit fast, they do a 1% version that needs less, but this works quite well in terms of dosing for me. Right, so next thing that I would recommend having, so this is an example. This is Gold Label Purple Spray. It's basically a chlorhexidine containing spray which turns everything purple. The purple is an added bonus if you like purple, but the main thing is the chlorhexidine, which is an antiseptic. It's very good for wounds and such. Now, purple spray, there's a lot of different brands of purple spray, I should say. Only some contain chlorhexidine, so make sure it contains that. You don't have to use the spray form. This is sold for horses, so you get it from horse shops or sometimes online. But what you can also use is Hibi Scrub, which is sold for humans in Boots or online as well. Quite easy to get hold of. That's more of a wound wash, and you dilute it a little bit and use it to wash a wound. The spray is quite useful because it sticks. The wound wash is easier because you can also use it to wash stuff in the cage, which I sometimes do. I do have a bottle of that. I've taken it in the house and used it for myself, which is the rat first aid box is better stocked than mine. But yes, it's quite a useful thing to have in. You can also use it to treat staph patches, which is a form of skin infection, and so on. But it's generally just a good idea to have something antiseptic in. At a pinch, Germany and Savlon contain the same active ingredient and can be used, but the rats tend to eat that off themselves quite happily. Other thing that I'd recommend having in terms of wounds, this is Intrasite Gel. It's a bit of the miracle stuff. It really promotes healing very quickly. It's great for open wound management, so that is where a rat for some reason has to have a wound that is left open so it's not stitched up. That's quite common where they've decided to pull the stitches out on a basic kind of skin level surgery. So if they've had like a mammary tumour removed from there, it doesn't matter so much if it does open up. You can use something like this to make it heal faster, and it's often easier than gluing it back together again because the glue can irritate them and they can chew it some more. This is also proved quite useful on certain kind of skin conditions. It's not cheap, but you only need one of those in for a period of time and then you can order more if needs be. But it is very good stuff and very effective. I think it's generally sold for horses, you can get it online, but yes, Intrasite Gel. So the next thing that I briefly mentioned in terms of wound as an absolute emergency, this is a tiny little tube of super glue, a very cute little tube. I like to have that in if somebody opens up some stitches after a kind of surgery and it isn't the type that you can leave open. Some of them are dangerous. Super glue was originally developed as a surgical glue. It does sting a bit more than the surgical glue they use in the vets, but it is effective in a pinch, and you can use it to press wounds together. Generally then you would choose to get them to the vets the next day or as soon as possible afterwards, but it's an emergency first aid thing. You can also use it for humans, but yes, I try and keep that in. The little bottles are ideal because it's just one dose. Just if you do it, be very careful, because I once did nearly stick my finger to a rat's scrotum when it pulled its stitches out. It would have been an experience to explain to the vet. Next thing that I always try and have in is some probiotics. So this isn't like live yogurt that is a probiotic, but it isn't a particularly effective one. This is veterinary grade probiotic. So this is a brand called Protexin by Lapis. It's sold for rabbits. You can get different brands that are similar, but you're looking for something that's quite effective. It's great if your rat has got an upset stomach, particularly if it's associated with using antibiotics, because it boosts the gut bacteria and it can help them get back on track. Next things that I always have in, very, very useful. This is liver paste, so it's Arden Grange, doesn't really matter about the brand, sold for dogs as a treat. Excellent for hiding meds in, it's one of my staples. It's also good for tempting a rat away from a situation where it shouldn't be in, or if I've got a pregnant doe and I want to persuade her to leave the baby, she will do anything for this, so it's quite useful from that. Another thing I should mention on the prospect of food, so this is baby food. I don't feed my baby foods treats, my rats baby food as a matter of treats like a lot of people do. I don't see the point. There are far better, healthier treats for them. But if you've got a very sick rat, having some baby food in, and I try and have a savoury and a sweet version. Mine particularly like this fish pie version from Elle's Kitchen, but there are different kind of flavours. You have to find what works for you. But if a rat is sick and you need to get fluids and kind of calories in it, baby food is great because it's quite easy for them to eat. You can just lick it up. It's obviously not a long-term solution, but it can help in the short term, so it's quite useful to have. Right, next thing to talk about, pair of sharp scissors. These are great. Sometimes rats can get tangled in bits of string, all that kind of thing. Having something like this handy is not only handy for cutting cohesive bandage, it's also handy for freeing in that kind of situation, and you can also use it to trim nails if you're kind of careful. They're quite multi-purpose. I would choose having a good pair of scissors in over a pair of nail clippers because I can use it in more situations. Next thing that I always have on hand, teaspoons. These are really useful for giving rat meds in, but what is also quite handy is you can crush a tablet between the two spoons. I find this more effective than most pill crushers, so I'll just push it through there and then I can kind of split it into whatever dose I need to, and then mix it with a bit of stuff and feed it to them. So I always keep a good supply of teaspoons in, very handy to have. So you briefly saw me pull out some cohesive bandage. This is something I always have in case of surgery, but I also try and have it in just in case. I've never had to use it beyond kind of protection against surgery, but in theory if a rat had quite a nasty wound that it was bothering, or sometimes they can kind of get a numb tail or that kind of thing, I could use this to protect them until I could get them to the vets and get it fixed. It's very useful. I do have a video on how to wrap a rat if you want to see it, so I'd check that out, and there's some other options as well with that in terms of kind of head collars and that kind of thing. So next useful thing that I tend to have in is a selection of syringes. So these are great for giving meds. You can get bigger ones as well that can be used to give them food and kind of water if they're not feeling very well, though mostly, to be honest, I use my finger. They tend to prefer it off my finger actually, it's like a special treat for them. Though if a rat is suffering from a neurological problem, that could be quite painful. But yes, handy to have some syringes in. Most vets will give you some. The other most commonly used syringe is the standard 1ml thing, and most rats' medication can be dosed very effectively like this. So final kind of small item on my list is either Calpol, this is kids Calpol, or Calprofen or similar, so you can get own brands, which would be paracetamol children's suspension or ibuprofen children's suspension, or this is Metacam, which you get from the vet. This is on prescription only. So these are all forms of painkiller. Now I like to keep paracetamol based one in and Metacam, and my vet regularly gives me extra Metacam, so I've got it in because she trusts me to dose it. You do need to know what you're doing with both of these because they are actual medication and the rats can be overdosed on them if you don't dose them carefully. But it's very handy to have in if you have a situation where a rat is in clear pain. and you need to sort it quickly before you can get to them to the vet, because vets do take time to get to, and sometimes just have something on hand, it can be useful. And sometimes a rat will have a condition like a bad sprain that is bothering them, and I will say bad sprain. I don't treat minor sprains with kind of painkillers and anti-inflammatories. It's only if it's really bothering the rat. So then I will use one of these potentially to kind of ease the pain over a period of time while I monitor. If it doesn't get better quickly, straight to the vets. But yes, the paracetamol based is useful to have in, as well as kind of what I call non-steroid anti-inflammatories, which are your metacams and your ibuprofen based things, because paracetamol and also tramadol, which is a kind of similar thing, can be given with steroids, whereas your metacams and your ibuprofen stuff can't, and they clash. It's not good. So they work in different ways though, because these things are anti-inflammatories, this is not. So it's kind of one to think about. I like to have both in, but it's always worth having some sort of emergency painkiller in case it's going to take you a bit of time to get to the emergency vet. Right, so next thing to think about is just one big item with a couple periphery bits. So I would always recommend any rat owner has some sort of, excuse the rat models here, they're an intro, some sort of small cage, or at a pinch you can use a carrier. So this is my hospital cage, also currently my introduction cage. These girls were doing very well and now back in intros because they stopped doing very well. It happens sometimes. So it's quite a small cage. One of the key things about it, and I'll angle you a bit so you can see it better. One of the key things about this cage is it's very low height. So what you want is the rat not to be able to move around too much, not to be able to stand up and climb on the bars. So this cage is perfect for that. I've got another one which has another door and it's slightly higher, which I also like. But this is the one that I've got being occupied at the moment. And then it's basically set up. You can use different substrates in it, but what I also have in my first aid kit as such is vet bed. So this is a kind of floor covering that's a lot thicker than your normal fleece, and it's great if you've got a rat that's got a kind of a bleeding wound, or has just been an operation for the first day or two while the wound's healing, because it keeps it quite clean. It does get smelly quite quickly and isn't great long term, but it's great short term and it's better than fleece. But at a pinch you could use fleece or a towel that doesn't have like hooks of string making it up. So vet bed is great to go with your cage. And the final thing is Snuggle Safe heat mat. So this is a microwavable heat mat. At a pinch you could use a hot water bottle wrapped in a towel. This does low level heat very well. It lasts for up to 12 hours. If you're ever using a heat pad or a heat mat or similar, you have to be very, very careful that the rats in question can move away. If they're so paralysed that they can't move away, then it's dangerous for them. But it can be very useful where a rat is cold, or when you're picking them up from the vets after surgery, or that kind of thing. So it's handy to have in. And to be honest, this is the thing I use most of them for myself. It's actually an excellent human heat mat as well. I have occasionally used it for the rats too, though it is technically theirs. But I think I got it for a rabbit many years ago. But yes, it kind of goes down very well and it's a useful thing to have in. So those are my main things that I would recommend everybody getting in some sort of form in a first aid box. Bear in mind that there are options in your own human first aid box that you can use in a pinch as well. Like your German, Savalon, like bandages and plasters and such. Though they're not quite as effective. You don't have to have everything in, but it's worth building up, and it's just kind of peace of mind in case you need it. And there are other things you can get in, like sometimes vets will give you extra antibiotics and such to have in, but I would not recommend that for the majority of people unless you know what you're doing, and that means really knows what you're doing with both dosing and when to give it, because a lot of people give far too many antibiotics. Some vets give far too many antibiotics, I think, as well. Mostly to keep us quiet, so I won't go into those. But that's over and out from me for today. Any questions on this, just drop us a message, I'll answer if I can. If you need any links to any of the items that I've talked about, I'll try and find them for you, though some of them I do get kind of from local shops, but I'm sure I can find an online version. So that's it from me, and thank you very much.